I was just going to show you how to manipulate an image in Photoshop, but there's a couple of things you need to know about your image first. So if you are going to pick an image, and I just have an image of a female boxer wrapping hands and stuff like that. If I click on an image here, and you'll notice it when it comes up, it's 1100 pixels by 700 pixels. This is a pretty good sized image to be using, as I'm saying that there's a lot of negative space here that we probably don't want as you're trying to draw or paint an image. If I click a different image though, hopefully you can see how the pixel size is much smaller. So when you're picking a photograph for what you're trying to do, you want to make sure that you're picking a pixel size that's in the larger hundreds of numbers, like 8 or 900 or 1100. Like this image right here is much better than the second image I picked because of the pixel size. So again, when you're picking an image, you want to pick something larger. Another thing that you want to know about selecting your photograph is when you drag that to your desktop, like I've done here, it actually pops up as an icon that I can then use and manipulate. I can't use it directly from Google. As I'm doing that, if I select another image, and actually I want to make it as large as possible, so should it be on the larger image or even actually click into the image itself in order to download what I'm trying to do. But hopefully what you'll notice about this second image that I have here is actually a web page though, so it's actually not going to open in Photoshop. You need to make sure that it says JPEG or TIFF or PNG on the file extension at the end. So this WEBP will not work when you try to go into Photoshop to manipulate your images. The first thing that you're going to have to do is use a desktop because this will not work on your Chromebook. And what you need to know about that is you will be using Photoshop, which I actually have here on my dock. If that does not appear for you, you're going to have to go up into one of the other folders. I'm going to go into the hard drive. You could actually also, I'm going to close this for a moment, because you could actually also go in the Finder and find the same information. It actually brings up a window that's very similar when I double click on the hard drive. Hopefully you can see here all the AirDrop applications, my house, desktop, all those things are the same when I open the Finder. So when I go in the Finder, I'm going to want to go into Applications. I'm going to want to go into Photoshop folder. This is the Photoshop folder. This is the actual application that you can use. I could double click on this from here and actually use the Photoshop program. But what I'm also going to want to do is I would recommend dragging this to your dock like I have done so that you actually have it available to you every time you log into a desktop computer. But what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to double click on that and it's going to open the program for me. And then what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take my images and I'm actually going to make my screen a little bit smaller so that you guys can see the images that I have here of my boxer. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to import this image of the boxer. So I'm just going to drag it over into Photoshop, and you can see it's kind of small. So the person that picked this image actually picked kind of a small image. There's a way to work around that. If you go under image and then you go under image size, you can actually manipulate the size of the image. So I'm going to make this width 10, and it's automatically, because I have this little link box checked, it's automatically going to change the other side so it keeps it in the same ratio for me. But I'm making the image much bigger because that width was 4 inches before. I'm also going to change the resolution to something like 300 or 400, and what it's going to do when I press return is it's going to process a little bit, and then it's going to make my image really, really big. And so I'm just going to press the command key and the minus button, which is right next to the 0 on your keyboard, in order to make this a little bit smaller so that I can see it. And then I'm going to enlarge it again because I made a mistake there. So I probably should manipulate this farther because this isn't my image. So what I'm going to do is grab the crop tool, and then I'm actually going to crop this so that it's in the rule of thirds and that I like what I'm seeing. So I'm going to actually just crop this in a little bit. I'm actually going to go something sort of like that. It's kind of a square canvas, but I don't mind that so much. And if it really bothered me, what I could do is go in on the wrist here a little bit, and it's actually going to make it, well, that made it more square. I'm going to make it more of a vertical composition because a lot of people don't necessarily do that if they're not trained in art. So I made mine in the rule of thirds, and if I click on that crop tool again, you can actually see this hand is the emphasis, but it's very closely followed by this hand down here, and the wrapping is at a diagonal, so your eye actually follows all of that. Once I have my image cropped, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and then what you're going to do is go up to duplicate layer. And if you duplicate that layer, I would label it outlines. And technically it's also the photocopy filter. So I'm just going to make photocopy on here, and I'm going to see what happens. So I'm going to go up to filter. I'm going to go into filter gallery. Then once that opens, I'm actually going to open sketch, which is where photocopy is. And here I can see it zoomed in quite a bit on my hands. I can again press command and minus, and it's actually going to show me my whole image. You can also come down here where you can enlarge or shrink the image so that you can see what you need to when you're trying to figure out your filters. So again, I'm going to go into the sketch filter. Generally speaking, when you open the filters, it's probably going to look like this. I use Photoshop a lot, so it had things open for me already, but I'm going to go into the sketch filter, and then I'm going to go into photocopy, and what it's going to do is it's going to show me the outlines. Now the reason that my outlines are blue is I already had blue selected. That's not a huge problem. However, if you have like, you know, a yellow or a light green, that might not necessarily work for what you're trying to see. So you probably want to have at least a darker color or black in order to use the photocopy filter. So after I select that, you can see it changed my image. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make another copy by right-clicking on that original layer of my photo, and I'm going to say duplicate layer again. This time I'm going to call it cutout, and I'm labeling my layers here because theoretically in Photoshop I could have 100 different layers in here, and I want to label them so I know what they are. So I'm going to turn off those outlines. I'm going to turn on the cutout layer. Then I'm going to go up to filter, and instead of this filter gallery, this was the last filter that I used. I don't want that one, so I'm going to make sure that I go down to filter gallery, the original, where I can access all of the filters. And again, my image is a little big, so I'm going to just zoom out by doing command and minus. You can actually see it has the last filter in there. So I'm going to actually minimize that triangle, and I'm going to open the artistic folder, which has that cutout version that I wanted to see. Part of the reason that I use this is I can actually see where the value differences are. I find this very helpful when I'm trying to do a drawing or painting in order to really see where those values go. You can actually toggle the number of levels over here, and you can actually have it more abstracted by having less levels, and it will be more realistic if you actually have more levels. I actually want the more levels at this point for what I'm trying to do, but that is a personal choice up to you. So I'm going to say okay. And then the next thing I probably want to do once I have my different layers and I know I have what I need, I'm going to actually print. So in order to print, I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to scroll all the way down in that column to print. I'm going to click on that, and I'm also going to scroll down to where it says Scale to Fit Media. So hopefully here, when you see I scaled to fit media, it didn't pixelate my image because I changed that image size a while back. You also want to make sure that the printer selected is D109 Art Color Printer. I have a couple other choices here as an instructor, but we want to make sure that when we're on the desktop computers that we're selecting Art Color Printer for printing this type of photo. These other printers are actually for something else later that when you're in painting and AP you might get to use. Then I would select print, and it's actually going to ask me again if I want to print it, because what's happening here is Photoshop is talking to the printer, and so then I'm going to say print again. While your image is printing, you should save a copy of what you've done here so that in case you lose it or you want to make some adjustments later, you can actually always go back and do that. Then I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Save As. So I can save a Photoshop document. Eventually, I'm going to save a copy as well. So I'm going to save first, save as. I'm going to save to my computer. So once you click on that, a new window is going to pop up, and I can leave mine labeled as Boxer, that's fine. What you really do not want are all these weird numbers, or, when I first had the images up, sometimes like it'll give a number to it. I actually took screenshots, that's why it says that over here. But if your image, your original image has a number on it, you probably want to relabel it to something that you're going to remember. This works. I could actually write wrapped hands if I wanted to, because that's technically what's going on in the image here. And you can see that I'm going to save that to my desktop. I don't want this as a TIFF though. I actually want it as a Photoshop document because it's going to save all of these layers for me in case I need to go back in there and fix something later. So when I press save, it's asking me about the maximize capability. It doesn't really matter. Just click OK, and what it's going to do is put a copy of that. So you can see here the file extension is a PSD, and if I were to close my image and I either double click or I could drag my image back into Photoshop, what you'll see is that same document opened that I already had the layers in. Another thing that you can do in order to save different copies for yourself, like let's say I want the outlines to show, I can actually go and save a copy. And hopefully you'll notice too, over on the right hand side, there's actually hotkeys up in here. In case you don't know what those mean, you can actually go into the file and you can actually save a copy that way. So I'm going to save a copy. This time I actually want to go and I want to make sure, so you can see the, right now it's saying copy because the file extension is still the PSD, but if I go into the format and I save a JPEG, it's actually going to save just this image and it's not going to save all the different layers. So when I do that, it's also going to tell me, oh, hey, how big do you want this? Normally, if you have never done a Photoshop document before, it's going to have this on 8, but we actually want to make that as large as we possibly can. You can either type 12 or you can take the toggle and drag it all the way over to the right, but you always want the image for art as large as you can make it. So then we'll say okay, and hopefully you notice there's another copy that saved down here, and it's actually as a JPEG, which is just the image itself. When I drag this back into Photoshop, now you can see I only have that one layer. So if you really want all the layers open, you're going to have to save a PSD. So now when I drag this in, if I've got something else open, I always want to drag it to this little bar here on the top. And what it's going to do is it's going to open my original copy again. After you've saved your image in Photoshop to your desktop, what you're going to want to do is open Google Chrome. And then what you're going to do is go to Drive. Once you have Drive open, you should actually go to your drawing folder. So right now I'm going into my courses, I'm finding my drawing one folder, and I'm actually going to save this in the composition Photoshop assignment. So I always know where my image is. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drag my images and I'm going to put them in my Photoshop images here. So I'm actually going to take those and I'm going to drag them into a file so that I've got them organized for myself. I don't want to just randomly put these in Drive, because if I had to search Drive every single time, you can of course use the search bar up here, but if you don't remember what the file is called, it's a lot easier to just put it in a folder. So hopefully you can see I've got my wrapped hands here way at the bottom. And that way I know that I have my images with me. Again, after you've printed, if your image prints a little bit dark, what you might want to do is go back into Photoshop. And again, I had to click the Photoshop window because I was just using the desktop. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Image and Adjustments, and I'm going to maybe make it brighter in order to actually have it print, because the printer in the art room actually prints a little dark. So sometimes I can actually take this brightness and I can say okay, and hopefully you saw it was actually getting brighter over here on the image itself. If that still prints too dark, you can actually do that brightness and contrast several times until
you actually end up with an image that's completely white on the screen. And so basically what you're doing is you're taking all of the colors or all of the black out of the image, technically, because this is a black and white image right now. I don't think this is going to print very well. I just wanted to show you that you can actually continue making things brighter in order to have things print for yourself so that you can see your objects that you're trying to draw. I'm totally aware that I can see this on my computer screen. You could see this image on your phone. You can adjust things on your phone. However, when you try to use those for drawing in class, it's easiest for me to help you if the image is printed, which is why I'm showing you how to do this. So it's a really good idea to have that printed copy just so that I can actually take a transparency sheet and draw over a certain shape that you're seeing if you're not actually like looking at something correctly, or maybe you've drawn something and it's either too long or maybe it's too wide or something. I can actually go back and help you if I can draw right on the printed version of what you're trying to do. So there you have it. There is your Photoshop tutorial.